Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be reading chapter 7, probably the whole thing. Let's see how much there is left. Maybe up to a couple pages, but then I didn't have enough time to finish. We'll see what I get through. So to stop wasting time, I'm gonna get started right away. Sorry for me missing in action. I'm starting to post more. I was just kind of like taking a break. I had quite a lot going on in my life, and I still do, but I should be reading. I want to read a little bit, so I'm going to be starting reading now. Okay. Chapter 7. After I ate a peanut butter and banana sandwich, washed down with lemonade, I sat at Aunt Alice's computer and typed Eugenie Dupree in the search box. I'd find out if she was a famous fashion designer, which I doubted very much. Then I convinced Lila to trust me. That's Lila. In seconds, I was stunned to see a ton of hits. Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Wikipedia, and of course, Madame Eugenie's webpage. Photographs showed Mr. Brian's Lila in Rome, London, Berlin, and Paris, always smiling, always dressed in Madame Eugenie's fashions. Lela's hair and makeup were perfect, and Mr. Breeze looked suave and sophisticated. Sorry, one moment. Okay. A stylish older woman often... I need to pause for one moment. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Lela's hair... Oh, no, I read that. I scrolled through pages of models dressed in Mr. Breeze creations. They were very young, very thin, and very pretty. Some were white, some black, some Asian. They posed as if they'd been told to look angry, sulky. They pouted, they frowned, they glared with their spindly legs and arms. They looked like homeless orphans. Lila was much prettier than any of them. The next day, I sat on the porch all by myself. No cats watched me from the fence. Aunt Alice was at the library, and so was Lila. My only company was Nia. She slept on the windowsill, stretched out gracefully, seemingly totally relaxed, but I like all cats. She was ready to wake up and run if she had to. Yesterday's bad feeling hung over me, darkening my mood. I tried to escape it by reading, but my fidgets strayed from Camelot to the house next door and the witch hid in its windows. What was she planning? Was Letta still there? Or had she gone back to the city? I rocked the swing already, my book forgotten. Why had Letta spent so much time with Lila and me yesterday? Why had she tried to talk Lila into becoming a model? All that gushing, all those compliments that, not that Lila wasn't pretty. She was, but it was as if Lila wanted to take Lila away from me and use her in some way. Nia scratched on the window screen and mewed. I wished she and I were sitting on the swing together, but I didn't dare bring her outside. Luckily, she showed no sign of wanting to leave the house. I'm sorry, I'm just stretching. Ow. Okay. Hold on while I find my spot. Why had Lila spent so much time with Lila and me yesterday? Why had she tried to talk Lila into becoming a model? All that gushing, all those compliments. Not that Lila wasn't pretty. She was. But was as if Zleta wanted to take Lila away from me and use her in some way. Nia scratched on the window screen and mewed. Oh wait, sorry I read that, guys. I'm so sorry. Luckily, she showed no sign of wanting to leave the house. My thoughts went back to Layla. Let her think what she pleased, but I wasn't jealous. My issue was Letta, not Lila's books. Something wasn't right about Mr. Priest's niece, but I couldn't say what it was. Just that it was hidden much better than Mr. Priest's wrongness. I looked at Lila's house later this afternoon when she came from the library. Maybe she'd come over. We'd make up and be friends again. I'd convince her I wasn't jealous. I'd tell her not to trust Zlata. I'd show her Mr. Priest's website and the pitiful, half-starved models. I picked up my book again, determined to keep my mind on Arthur and Merlin. There was danger in Camelot, but it was safe danger locked in a book. It wasn't right next door in the real world. Zlata joined me so quietly I didn't notice her until she said hello. It was almost as if she'd magicked herself out of the air. I didn't mean to startle you, Zoe. Aunt says I'm as quiet as a cat. Without waiting to be asked, she sat beside me. I moved as far away from her as the swing allowed. If she'd come with another invitation to visit her aunt, she'd be disappointed. You look so cute this morning, Zoe, she said. The blue t-shirt matches your eyes. She looked nice in her beige cropped trousers and white shirt, but I didn't tell her. She already knew she was beautiful. Zlata smiled and leaned toward me. I told Aunt I met you. She hopes you'll visit her soon so she can apologize for the way she treated you. She sighed and swept her hair to one side, releasing the sweet scent of her shampoo. Leaning closer, she said, truly Aunt has gotten a bit creaky in her old age. I worry about her living alone with the cats. It was almost as if she'd magicked herself out of the air. I didn't mean to startle you, Zoe. Aunt says I'm as quiet as a cat. Sorry. Okay, without waiting to be asked, she sat beside me. I moved as far away from her as the swing allowed. If she'd come with another invitation to visit her aunt, she'd be disappointed. You look so cute this morning, Zoe, she said. The blue t-shirt matches your eyes. She looked nice in her beige cropped trousers and white shirt. But I didn't tell her. She already knew she was beautiful. Zleta smiled and leaned toward me. I told Aunt I met you. She hopes you'll visit her soon, so she can apologize for the way she treated you. She sighed and swept her hair to one side, releasing the sweet scent of her shampoo. Leaning closer, she said, truly Aunt has gotten a little bit cranky in her old age, I worry. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I think I read that page. That just done. One moment. Okay. I worry about her living alone with those cats. They're so precious to her, but they aren't nice cats, as I'm sure you've noticed. She leaned a little closer. Aunt is old. Her heart has known more sorrow than you in your youth can imagine. I beg you to return 13 as she calls her. She's her favorite cat, the only one who sits in her lap and purrs, the only one who enjoys being petted, kissed, and loved. As Letta talked and relaxed, perhaps Lila was right, and I was wrong about Zlata. It wasn't her fault that she was related to Miss Dupree. Her voice was so soft and pleasant, and she smelled so nice. I was glad to have all her attention. If Lila were here, they'd be talking about modeling, and I'd be left out. My poor aunt, so lonely, so sad, not a friend in this town. Zlata sighed. Her breath tickled my ear, and I moved closer to her. So close my shoulder touched hers. Your shampoo, I murmured. It smells so nice. Where do you get it? I loved to have some. Zlata smiled and shook her head, releasing waves of fragrance. It's made especially for me by a dear friend of my aunt. Very costly. Believe me, you couldn't pay the price she asks. I rested my head on her shoulder and breathed deeply. I'll have to smell yours then. Giddy. I was so giddy and dizzy, dizzy and giddy. I started giggling, and for a minute, I couldn't stop. Embarrassed, I moved back to my side of the swing. The fragrance faded, and I yawned. Somewhere in the back of my head, an alarm buzzed faintly, but I ignored it. Lila trusted Zlata. I trusted Zlata. Why not? Now about 13, Zlata said softly. What's the chief reason you won't return her to Aunt Eugenie? I had to think before I answered. Why had I stolen Nia from the old poor woman next door? Somewhere in the back of my head, an alarm buzzed faintly, but I ignored it. Lila trusted Zlata. I trusted Zlata. Why not? Now, about 13, Zlata said softly. What's the chief reason you want to return to her Aunt Eugenie? I had to think before I answered. Why had I stolen Nia from the poor old woman next door? Why did I hold on to her when Mr. Dupree needed her so much? What a selfish person I was. And a thief, too. It was suddenly clear that I must return Nia. It was the right thing to do. Behind me, Nia scratched the screen and meowed. The fog in my head cleared. I sat up straight. Without realizing it, I moved closer to Zlata. I slid away from her again. If only she'd leave. I wanted to go inside and play with Nia, but that would be rude. I don't believe that Nia ever sat in your aunt's lap, I said. She hates Mr. Dupree. That's why she tried to run away over and over again. I rescued her. I saved her. I'll never give her back. Zlata looked past me at Nia. Her eyes narrowed, and Nia jumped down from the windowsill, and disappeared from sight. So that is 13, she said softly. I see why Aunt wants her back. A cat like that, so perfect, her coat so shiny, her tail so full. Her name is Nia, I said. You should have seen her when I rescued her. She was lots skinnier, and her coat was sort of dull, like she never got good quality cat food. If your aunt loved her so much, why didn't she take good care of her? Zlata looked at me as if I'd hurt her deeply. Oh, Zoe, how can you say Aunt didn't take good care of 13? Her name is Nia, I said. Nia. 13 is a number, not a name. 13, Nia, whatever. Zlata slid close to me again. The fragrance of her hair surrounded me like a delicious cloud. I tried to move away from her, to get up and go outside with Nia, but my body liked being where it was. I understand your anger, she murmured. You loved 13 so much. You didn't want to give her up, so you pretended pretend the cat was unhappy with Aunt. She was unhappy. I shifted my weight in the swing. The seat's wooden slats felt hard and uncomfortable. But you must see Aunt loves 13 just as much as you do. Just as much you do. Wait, Aunt loves 13 just as much as you do. And she owns the cat, not you. And no one owns a cat. No one owns a cat. I swatted at the air to clear my head, but the perfume clung to my. Hold up, where is it? Clung to my hair and my skin. My mind was muzzy again, slow. How about this? Let us smooth my hair. What if Aunt has found a cat who's just as sweet as 13? Would you trade? Someone's letter had won me back to her side. I wanted to please her. I wanted to be her friend. I wanted her to tell me I was just as beautiful as Lila, and I could be a famous model too. Most of all, I wanted her to like me better than Lila, but I loved Nia too. Why can't your aunt keep the other cat and let me keep Nia? Please, Zoe, Aunt needs 13. I need her too. I was close to tears. I didn't want to argue with Lara, but I couldn't give Nia back to Miss Dupree. Okay guys, this is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and see you guys in the next video. Till next video, bye everyone.